afternoon or good morning, little children, depending on when you are watching this. This is Mr. Moorhead coming to you live from Moorhead Studios in sunny Garner, North Carolina. And I am giving you a brand new lesson. We are moving on to a new period of history. We are going to learn about a new person. His name is Timucin. Timucin, going to change the world, and you'll understand it by the end of this lesson. He is going to impact tons of people later, including Christopher Columbus. And by the end of this unit, hopefully you'll understand what role this guy played in changing the world. Okay? All right, so Timucin is from Mongolia. And if you look at Mongolia, Mongolia is a pretty massive country, but it looks like this. Not a lot of trees. It's hilly, if not mountainous, a lot of plains, and for a good portion of the year, it's frozen there. So Mongolia, this massive country, has about 3 times the number of people as Wake County. That's not a lot of people. That's a huge open area, okay? Now, that is where Timucin was born. Now, we're talking roughly about 1,000 years ago. This area is really rough to live in. Even to this day, they do not have a big population. And most people live in very small groups. Why? Because you can't feed that many people. You can see it's a little bit barren there. It's like almost like a grassy desert, if you will. Okay, so they depend on each other a bunch for food. Now, their culture is a little bit different than our culture. In our culture, my wife's name is Jenny Moorhead. So she takes my name as her last name. So symbolically, like, she kind of becomes part of my family. Okay, she's got my last name. Their culture is the opposite. Most oftentimes, the man goes to live with the woman's family. And this process starts when they're about 8 years old. Now, you will say, 8 years old? Oh my God. But these people didn't live to like their 30s or 40s. It's a harsh, harsh life. So 8 years old to them is probably much closer to 20 years old, 30 years old to us in today's time. So Timucin has been sent to live with his future wife. Now, they're not going to get married at 8. They're going to get married much older, but they start the process at about that age. Now, Timucin, he's from a very, very small tribe. His dad is the chief. And I did forget to mention that he was born with a blood clot in his hand. That's a sign of good luck for that particular culture. Okay? Now, Timucin's father has dropped Timucin off with this new tribe. He is going to marry a young girl there named Borta. And again, this is starting the process. They're not getting married at 8, they get married later. Now, as Timucin's father is leaving, he is left, he's going across that plain, frozen kind of grassland. He is approached by 2 horseback riders. Timucin's father is on horse as well. That's kind of rare, okay, for you to be out in this open area and 2 people see you and they come toward you. So immediately, Timucin's father is thinking, this is trouble. And he notices this is a rival tribe. Now, this rival tribe asks him to hunt. And that's generally a sign of friendship. If somebody asks you to come over and play video games, you don't think they mean harm. It's a sign of friendship. Well, a couple of days later, Timucin's father's horse is riding across this plain, approaching his tribe. And they don't see Timucin's father in the saddle. And as it gets closer, they do see him. He is slumped over and kind of hanging on the side. And he is foaming at the mouth. He has been poisoned. Those people tricked him. They poisoned him, and now Timucin's mother is in a panic. Her husband is dead. She sends for Timucin, and Timucin rushes home. Now, Timucin's father was the chief. That means he's kind of like a prince. And he tells everybody, hey, I'll be the leader. I'll do what I need to do. But guys, even back then, like, nobody's going to let an 8-year-old stay in charge of an entire tribe. So the men of the tribe kind of look at each other and they're like, we're not going to let you do that. And you remember, Temujin's not always going to be 8 or 9 years old. He's going to grow up. And if they forbid him from taking control now, what happens when he gets older and gets stronger? So the men of the tribe kick him and his mother out. Now, this is a nice way of giving a death sentence. That's a very nice way of giving a death sentence, because these people, they depend on each other. Like if one's out hunting and they don't get anything and somebody else does, they're expected to share. Okay, so this is a nice way of saying, hey, you're not in charge of the tribe, and we don't need you. Don't come back, even when you're old enough to leave, or to lead rather. So Temujin, he is kicked out of the tribe. And if you think, oh my gosh, I've got to get into Google Classroom and find what I've got to do today, Temujin is having to find food for a pretty large family and his mom. That's what Temujin did every day. He went out hunting every day because he had to find food for this family. That's a tough life. We have record that they ate worms a lot of times because it's the only food that they could find. If they found a dead animal, like, they would eat it. This is going to cause Temujin to grow up, and he's going to be very bitter. He's very angry. Even at one point, he had trapped or caught a fish and had trapped a bird. And his brother he had a half brother that was with him. His half brother supposedly took credit for this, and he told him to put it down. The half brother wouldn't. They got in an argument. Temujin pulled out an arrow, strung it into his bow, and drug his half brother home with an arrow right through his chest. And he was probably about your age when he did that. Now, this was not Temujin's mother's son. It was a previous wife. They had more than one wife in this culture. But nonetheless, Temujin's mother is like terrified of this. Like, he just killed a child over this argument. All right. So nonetheless, she shows him a bundle of arrows. All right. And she hands him one arrow. And she says, break this arrow. And he breaks the arrow. Then she hands him the whole bundle. And she says, break the bundle. And he can't. He bends the arrows and bends them. And that's kind of her way of saying, if we're going to live, we're going to have to stick together. Like, all of us are stronger than one of us. And he seems to take this lesson to heart. But again, he grows up angry. He has got a mass temper to the point that he will kill. Now, several years later, he has been impoverished. He looks for food every day. He has not had an easy life. He wanders downstream, looking, probably hunting or looking for food. And he actually runs into part of Borta's tribe. Okay, this was supposed to be his wife. And the father allows him to marry Borta. This kind of saves the family, because now he can officially bring his family. They all join together. But the story does not end well here. It's still quite upsetting. Back then, marriages were arranged. Borta was told that she was going to marry Temujin. Temujin was told he was going to marry Borta. They arranged this marriage even before the kids were born. If one family doesn't have a kid, or what if one family has a kid, they arrange the marriage and the kid dies? So there's all these different scenarios where you can have this marriage arranged and you don't actually get married. If that happened to you, the way that you would get a wife is you get some other guys that are in a similar situation, and you ride as far away as humanly possible and find a tribe, and you kidnap a girl. You raid and you kidnap a girl, and you bring her home and you marry her. All right? You want to talk about being nervous, like asking people out on prom. This would have to be far worse than that. You're going to steal someone. Okay? So they're kidnapping. I don't know if you call that kidnapping or adult napping, but they're taking someone. All right? Now, after Temujin and Borta are married, a tribe raids this new tribe he is with. And Borta is stolen. She is taken. And Temujin is super upset. Now, she is going to be gone for probably very close to 8 months. All right. And he gathers up all of these warriors from that tribe. There's some evidence that he might have went to the tribe that kicked him out and said, hey, you guys owe me one. You're going to kill me. Give me some soldiers. So he gathers all of these soldiers together and he finds the tribe that stole Borta, and he leads all these people into battle. And it turns out he's this ferocious, just absolute ferocious fighter. And when this happens, just people see that, oh my gosh, like he's this great leader. He knows how to handle the military, this new little military he made. Now he is able to find Borta and get her back, but this is a little bit of controversy. When he gets her back, she has a child. She has a child. So Timucin will never know, is that child his, or is that child from the person that kidnapped her? But he will raise the child as his own. So there's a little bit of controversy with Timucin's first child, and we'll talk about that a little bit later. All right, so Timucin will continue, like everybody's impressed. This word goes around that he is this ferocious warrior, this great leader, and he kind of battles other tribes that are causing problems. Like he's going to fix all problems in this area. More people join him. Some people join him because he's conquered them. Some people join them because they're like, wow, this is pretty good. Let's join his little group. And by the time it's all said and done, he has united every tribe on this massive, almost empty plain. Okay, he's created this massive tribe, and they're going to name him the leader. This all started with his wife being stolen. Like he's kicked out of a tribe, almost starves to death, kills his own brother, finally does get married. His wife is stolen. He gets her, not sure if the child is his that she has. And now he turns into like a military leader out of this. He unites all these tribes, and when he is united, they will call him something. We're not 100% sure what it means. You can look it up on Wikipedia. They'll give you some sort of answer. But if we go back to the original writings, the primary documents, we don't know what this translates to, but he's not going to be called Timucin anymore. He's going to be known as Genghis Khan. And he takes this group, or these tribes that are now united. That's the important thing he does. He unites these tribes, and he will conquer every place around him. He will create the largest landlocked empire in history. Guys, he will go all the way to the top of Africa, way, way, way into Europe, up to India. Like he pretty much conquers the continent of Asia, minus a few islands, and he makes it all the way like near Poland. So this is a phenomenally large empire, because these Mongol people, when they're by themselves in a small group, they're not that strong. But when you put them into a large group, kind of like the bundle of arrows, there is something that these people could do that nobody else on the planet could replicate. There's nobody that can replicate what these people are very special at, okay? And when you take what they are special at into battle, it was unstoppable for, I'm going to say, 700 years. Tomorrow, I will let you know what these people possess that is so special. Hope you enjoyed the story, kids, and I will finish it tomorrow.